of Noah, God was going to destroy the earth because of the sins of the people. So let's bring forward to the news, recent news in the newspaper in Singapore. Esplanade promoting bestiality, naked men having sex with animals, pictures outside the Esplanade library. This is 2nd June. Area where kids walk past to go to the kids art and play center, and it is the school holidays. So this is not US, it's actually Singapore, and it was done by local artists, right? If you are aware of it, this is, and the Christians actually did a very good job. They protested, and the paintings were actually taken down. So this is and a point of contention that we as Singapore are not immune to serious sins. These type of sins are, as I mentioned, in the time of Noah, and also in the time of Jonah, you have this type of problems. So in the times of Singapore, we are actually having, this is not the first incident, but this is one of the more prominent incidents in Singapore. Okay, before we go on, this is just the background. The word ark here is actually pronounced T-va, okay? And the trouble is the art is pronounced ha-ti-va, okay? The funny thing about the word ark is that it's actually found in two places. The first place is Noah's Ark. The second place is actually in Genesis. And what the word is actually used in in Exodus chapter 2, verse 1 to 10. So if you were to read the Bible in Hebrew, it does not say basket. It actually says ark. That the baby Moses was put in an ark. Not basket, ark. So what is an ark? So why is there such a difference in translation? Obviously, the ark that Noah's you're talking about is actually a gigantic piece of instrument, boat, or whatever you call this. You have to put many families inside, and then many animals inside. Whereas the ark, as in tifva, in the case of Moses, had only one thing, one person, and that is the person of Moses. They don't put food inside or anything. So what is an ark? So why is it different from a boat? Ark is basically something that floats, that can withstand rough water, so it doesn't overturn easily. It's waterproof, but the greatest feature of the ark is that it has no steering mechanism. It has no propulsion mechanism, which means that it does not, like a sailing boat, move with the wind. You have no control over the direction, and the whole fate of the ark lies in the hands of God. Okay, this is the thing to remember, that the fate of ark do not rely on, there's no control. It's up to God where God will bring the ark. It's up to God where God will bring things. And this is something where we have to remember, that sometimes in our lives we are in a situation where everything is up to God. There's nothing we can do, and we just have to trust God to handle the entire situation. Not us, not man, nobody else but God. And there's a let's look at some similarities between the two of them. Salvation. The ark at Exodus brought salvation to Moses. The ark at Noah brought salvation to Noah, animals, and possibly mankind, because if Noah had been wiped out, that would be the end of humanity. Okay. The judgment of God. In the case of water, you see Noah's life. In the future, God used water to judge the Egyptian army, killing off nearly, I think, most of the Egyptian army. In the case of Noah, God used water to judge the people at that point of time, and killing off practically almost most of humankind. So there is certain similarities between the two. That's why I wanted to bring the two together and see what other lessons you can learn. Okay, there are of course differences. One key difference is trusting in God. In the case of Noah, God told Noah, can you please go and build the ark? So Noah had to decide, do I trust God or do I not trust God? Building the ark in the middle of the land, it's very crazy. And to build such a big size ark, half the people will be laughing at him. I mean, there were no flood, and then building such a gigantic piece of ark, he had to trust God. Maybe I hear wrongly, or maybe I eat too much roti prata and I heard wrongly. I don't know. But did God really say? Maybe these are the questions that Noah asked. I have no idea. But Noah decided to trust God and actually went ahead and built the ark. Now the situation of Moses is very different. They were trying to kill off all the Israelites, children. And Moses' family was just trying to save Moses. The Bible didn't indicate that God told Moses' mother to make an ark and then put Moses inside. No. It's just out of survival sake, God, I just bring Moses before you. I trust you will take care of him. I trust you provide for him. It's a kind of trust that you place on God, but you have no direct you didn't hear directly from God, this is what you must do. There's no indication that this is the case. As a mother, you just really want the salvation, the safety of your child. You just pray, God, I leave it to you. I really don't know how to handle it. I put it in an ark and let you go. And this is a difference between the two arks. The lessons learned, that whether or not you hear directly from God, or whether or not you just have to trust God because the situation is so bad. And both the cases, you just leave the situation, the outcome to God. Okay. Then there's an interesting thing that took place, is that the preparation. That I'll later give you a real life example of how this is applied throughout, but in today's context. But in the meantime, let's look at historic context. The preparation was such that Moses' mom had to prepare the ark. She had to get the components. She had to make it. Maybe she have a chance to test the ark because the ark isn't that big. You can actually test it out. I don't know, because the size of it allow you to test. Whereas Noah's case, when he built the ark, if there's a hole in the ark, he's dead, because there's no chance for him to test to see if it actually really floats with all the animals. You have no way of testing it. But both of them had to prepare the ark first. They had to build it from scratch. It was not, you can't go to the supermarket and build it, and you can't go to online and get Lazada to send you an ark. Can you? I don't know, but at that point in time, there was no Lazada or Amazon to give you such thing. You had to do the preparation work before the miracle takes place. And there's a certain amount of preparation sometimes for miracles to take place. It's like, for instance, my daughter said, hey, I'm studying for an exam. I need to score good marks. Okay? So she actually had to study and then maybe trust God to help her remember the things in the exam. But she cannot say, dear God, can I have A's for my exam? I close my book. I don't take out the geography book for the last 10 years. Do you think she'll get an A? Maybe. But the chances are no. So or a missionary, he says, hey, I want to go to be a missionary in Africa. I stay in Singapore. Maybe God will teleport me from Singapore to Africa. It doesn't take place. You still have to buy the plane ticket to fly to Africa. You still have to make a arrangement. So even if you hear from God, there is always this preparation. Maybe you have to learn the language. If you want to be a missionary in India, you have to learn Hindi or Tamil. Maybe English will do, I think, in India. It's okay, but it depends which part. But there is always a preparation before something happens. Okay, now look at preparation after. Okay, let's look at the case. God have already performed the miracle in the case of Moses. The basket float. The Nile River is not as slow as you think, but and you will notice two very amazing things about Moses. Moses' sister happened to be with the Pharaoh's daughter, right? And Moses' sister happened to suggest that the baby be breastfed by its own mother. There is no, I believe the Pharaoh's daughter did not know that that the Moses will be breastfed by her own mom. Okay, it's common practice that sometimes if you adopt a baby and you want it breastfed, you can ask another girl to breastfeed for you. In those days, not so much in this culture, but in the ancient culture. So, but that takes preparation. That takes distinct thought that Moses' sister had to be with the Pharaoh's daughter and had to suggest, please, I know someone that can breastfeed you this baby. Because Moses' daughter didn't give birth to the baby, there's no way she can breastfeed the baby. So, and she had to be at the correct place at the correct time to be able to pull off the last part of this entire miracle. Because the part that is done by the mother, preparation, there's a part that is played purely by God, because if God sinks the basket, that's it. Or the basket go elsewhere instead of where the Pharaoh's daughter is. The Nile is actually a very big river. As you can see, the boat can actually go right through ship. So it's not really something small. And there's a preparation after the miracle to do things, to have a job, to secure this whole entire miracle, to have Moses grow up financed by the Pharaoh's daughter. Who paid for Moses' upkeep? Wasn't the parents, but was Pharaoh's daughter. The financing was actually done by Pharaoh's daughter. His education, his food, everything. Moses' family didn't even have to pay a single cent, right? So, but it takes preparation to position yourself. It takes thinking. A miracle doesn't mean that a miracle happened and you stop thinking. It doesn't happen like that. Okay, let's look at Genesis chapter 9, verse 1.
Genesis
9, 1.
chapter 1, is it?
Chapter 9, verse 1.
Sorry, I'm on the wrong page. Genesis chapter 9, verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
Then God blessed Noah and his sons, saying to them, be fruitful and increase in number and fill the earth.
Okay, then verse 7 to verse 11.
Verse 7. As for you, be fruitful and increase in number, multiply on the earth and increase upon it. Then God said to Noah and to his sons with him, I now establish my covenant with you and with your descendants after you.
Yeah, in verse 10.
And with every living creature that was with you, the birds, the livestock, and all the wild animals, all those that came out of the ark with you, everything, creatures on earth, every living creatures on earth.
Okay. Again, there's after the miracle job that they had to do to make the entire miracle complete. If the miracle of Noah will be, I prepared the ark and the family was saved and that's it, the miracle will be incomplete. To complete the cycle, they needed to be fruitful and multiply. So there's always before, middle, and end. This whole consists of one big, what I call composite miracle. A man's part, God's part, man's part. In this case, sometimes the order can be a bit different.